Please be seated now. Our service is about to begin. We ask that you please put your phones in worship mode. Thank you. We welcome guests and visitors, members and friends, everyone gathered here this morning and virtually live on Facebook. Come into this place of peace and let its silence heal your spirit. Come into this place of memory and let its history warm your heart. Come into this place of prophecy and power and let its vision open your soul. My name is David Fenimore. I'm your worship associate this morning. I've been a member of this congregation for about a year, I think, and currently serve it as a member of the choir and occasional pianist when everybody's desperate. Our worship service today is led by the Eastern Service Workers Association. Sister Dot Urban is a sister of St. Joseph with decades of experience in community organizing and education to address the world water crisis and to put in the sustainable development goals. Her work has inspired the creation of wells and cisterns around the world. She is now ESWA's Speaking Engagement Coordinator. John Sherfy grew up in Williamstown in a family with deep roots in the South Jersey agricultural industry. John has a Bachelor of Science degree in chemistry, and after working as a chemist in a small plate glass factory, he started organizing in 2021. He is now ESWA's Administrative Assistant and Educational Coordinator. A video of today's service will be available on our YouTube channel later today. And of course, we got a few announcements this week. First of all, late breaking news, Mike and Nancy have graced us with more vegetables and tubular roots from their garden. So help yourself to what you can use out in the foyer as you leave. The next Pomona Road cleanup is on July 14th. That's next Sunday, 8:30 to 10 a.m. Gloves, grabbers, and bags are supplied. Please see Nancy Watson if you have any questions. And the annual picnic, which was paused during the pandemic, is back and will be held on Sunday, September 1st after the service. Anyone who would like to be on the committee should contact Richard Schurig. There will be a sign-up sheet posted in the kitchen. This will be an indoor potluck, as we held last year. Please note that this Sunday is when the Scouts and their parents are coming to the service as their introduction to UUCSJS. So please be on your best behavior. Other announcements, this coming Friday, the Green Light Coffee House takes place again here, 6:30 p.m. Bring your music, bring your voices, bring yourselves to play, recite, listen, have a good time. See Katie Cardwell if you'd like to perform in that. And join us next Sunday for Gina's Spectacular Musical Extravaganza with special guest Tim Lakin. And if that's not enough, after the service, Gina will lead a tap dance class here in the sanctuary. So bring your shoes. Welcome to worship. But first, a few words about the prelude today. The late composer Peter Maxwell Davies lived in Stromness, second most populous town in the remote Orkney Islands in the far north of Scotland. And Farewell to Stromness, that you're about to hear, was written in 1980 as a protest against a proposed open-pit uranium mine a few miles from the town center of Stromness, which to date has not been developed, thanks in large part to local opposition. And this song became their anthem of resistance. Welcome into this place of healing. Welcome into this place of challenge and of growth. Welcome into this place of imperfection and aspiration. Here you are whole. Here you are holy. Here you are wholly loved. Our chalice lighter today is Diane Dreby. Please join me in reading the chalice lighting words in your order of service. O flaming chalice, symbol of a free faith, burn with the holy oil of helpfulness and service. Spread warmth and light and hope. Warm hearts grown cold with indifference. Light dark places with justice. Rekindle hope in despair. May we bring fuel for thy fire of love. Please rise now in body and or spirit and sing our gathering hymn, number 298, Awake Now My Senses.
Verses 1, 3, and 5.
Verses 1, 3, and 5.
Now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in all. Keep with the web of creation your vow. Giving, receiving as love shows us how. Wake now, compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take as your neighbor both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end. Wake now, my vision of ministry clear. Brighten my pathway with radiance dear. Mingle my calling with all who will share. Work toward a planet transformed by our care.
Today's Time for All Ages comes from India. It's thought to have been written in Sanskrit sometime between 200 and 300 BC, which is like over 2,000 years ago, right? But it's probably even older than that, because people probably started telling this story long before it was ever written down. Sitting by the fireside, someone told the first story and built the foundations of how people would learn for the rest of time. So here's today's story, passed down through the ages for us to learn from. Once upon a time, there was a flock of pigeons, led by a king, who were searching for food. Day after day, they flew, and for very long distances. They were very tired. The Pigeon King encouraged them, urging them to fly just a little further. They would certainly find something to eat soon. On this day, one small pigeon flew a little faster than the rest of the flock. He spotted some rice scattered beneath a banyan tree. So he informed the other pigeons, and all the pigeons gratefully landed near the banyan tree and began to eat the scattered rice. All of a sudden, a net fell over the pigeons and they were trapped. The pigeons saw a hunter approaching them carrying a huge club. They knew they were in danger and started fluttering their wings trying to get out of the net, but they couldn't. They were caught. The king of the pigeons had to think quickly. He told all the pigeons they would need to work together if they were to get out of this situation. The king told them that there is strength and unity, and if everyone works together, they'll be able to lift up the net and get away. He told them to prepare to fly, but to wait for his signal. The king took a big breath and gave the call, and the pigeons flew up together at once, carrying the net with them. The hunter looked up in astonishment, but he couldn't do anything about it. He tried to follow them, but the flock of birds were flying high over the hills and valley. They flew toward the city, where a friend of the pigeon king lived, a temple mouse. They knew that the mouse could help them. The mouse heard the loud noise of the flock of pigeons approaching and was a bit startled to see them all caught in a net. The king explained how they had been caught in a trap and needed the mouse to gnaw at the net with his sharp teeth and set them free. The little mouse began to gnaw the net, and one by one, all the pigeons were freed. They thanked the mouse and flew together, knowing that they are stronger together.
Thank you, Jess. A story to live by. A book is provided in the foyer for which you are invited to write whatever joys and sorrows you have as you enter. There are no entries for today. So let us share a quiet time together to reflect on our week. During the musical interlude, you may come forward and place a pebble in the water to acknowledge a personal joy or sorrow. Let us be in the spirit of prayer. Blessed and holy creation, universe of wonder, mystery beyond definition, we share today our joys and sorrows, listening deeply to the things that cause us to weep or worry, and lifting our hearts at one of those things we would celebrate together. Our hearts are touched by this shared ritual, and we are connected. We hold in our hearts this morning all those whose jobs require working outdoors, from construction to agriculture to service and safety workers, in this debilitating wave of heat and humidity affecting both the east and the west coasts. And furthermore, we hold in our hearts the millions of climate refugees around the world forced to leave their homes due to drought, floods, and rising sea levels. We pray for the people of the Eastern Caribbean, the vast majority of whom lost their homes, and all others affected by Hurricane Beryl, including those Texans living in its destructive path as it moves into the Lone Star State this afternoon. We pray for those who are apart from us, whether by distance, time, or conflict unresolved. We pray for those who thirst, whether for water, dignity, or justice. We pray for those who are in danger and who yearn for safety. We pray for our small, blue, fragile planet. Amen. Please rise in body and or spirit and sing with us hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving light the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
We will now take a moment to give and receive the morning offering. In a moment, the ushers will come forward to pass the offertory baskets among those who are in attendance. If this is your first time visiting us today, you may let the basket pass, as your presence is gift enough. You can also text a donation to 609-293-4495, or for those who are participating online, please visit UUCSJS.org and click on the yellow donate button for ways to contribute. Each week we see a small and sometimes a great miracle happen as people open their hearts and share their resources with this community of spiritual growth. No matter how you support us, we appreciate you and your generous heart. After all, your donation is what keeps us going. And no matter how those gifts are offered, they are always most gratefully received. The ushers will now accept this morning's offering.
together we share, and from this we live.
We will now hear from our speakers today. Welcome. There's this little footstool here if you need it. And there's water there, 2 glasses.
Oh, great. They're cold too. Wow. Thank you all for having us today. My name is John. I'm the Administrative Assistant, Eastern Service Workers, the Staff Training Coordinator. Very happy to be here. Quickly, I just want to thank the song choice, too. I see a lot of labor songs, protest songs. Definitely some thought was going into this, so thank you. We'll sing some labor songs next time we're here. We're not prepared today, but I got some ideas. Let me pass this along.
Hello, my name is Evelyn Pace, and I'm a member for 10 years. I'm the male coordinator.
And I'm Sister Dot Urban, Dorothy Urban, officially, but I've been called Dot since I was born, I guess. Named after my mother Dot, my godmother Dot. So, just dot, dot, dot. And most recently, people are calling me .com. So I am a Catholic sister, and I'm delighted to be here at your service today. I am always curious about how other people worship, how other people gather, and what their purpose is. And the more I listen, we were talking out there, listening to your prayer and hymns. We Sisters of St. Joseph resonate with you totally. I know that you have principles that you live by, and looking at those principles, I can certainly resonate with them. I don't know a lot about your beliefs, but I'm anxious to hear a little bit more about them today. I've been Catholic all my life, so it wasn't really a choice for me. But but I'm very much at home in my faith. But my choice point came when I was called by God to become a sister of St. Joseph. Our mother house is in Philadelphia, and I live with other vowed religious women in community where we love God, love our neighbor, and care for creation. And so what we do was really described by our first sisters back in 17th century France, when they first called everyone our dear neighbor. And I hear you talking about neighbors as well. That's great. So I'd just like to hear a little bit about you, how you came to join this congregation, and what inspires you. So would anybody just like to offer a word? Don't be shy. Good. Oh, we have a moving microphone? Oh.
I don't even know what I'm going to say yet. I believe in humanity, love. We believe in the earth and caring about each other. We are intact with human values, and I guess I won't go any further than that. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Who else?
Julie, I came here with my late wife, and she saw the flag outside and thought we might be welcome here. And we felt very welcome here from day one. It was like a home for us. And if you want to know more, we have our 7 principles of UU on the back of our order of service. And we'd like to welcome both of you, all 3 of you. Thank you. Thank you. Good, we're getting into it.
There are a lot of people in the United States nowadays who say they love God and hate religion. Here you find people who love religion and don't believe in God. But we do find the need to get together to grow ethically and spiritually, and we don't have a creed, but we have an agreement to help each other learn. And we're always becoming, always changing, always growing. And it's the attraction of the help from each other that brings us here.
Great.
Thank you, Kit.
That's true community.
I first started out in my hippie years and in college. In Montclair, there was a Unitarian church, and I attended it, and I knew right then that that's what I was because of their principles and also, accepting everybody that, no matter what their sexual, orientation or female, male, and our 7 principles
Great.
were what took me there.
Hi, my name is Geraldine. I came to this congregation from a large Irish Catholic family, so I'm kind of a displaced Catholic, but my beliefs are in line with hope, faith, love, charity. So I still very much resonate with a lot of the things in the faith aspect that I grew up with. So I've been very, very grateful to be here. I've been here 22 years, so it's my home.
Hi, I'm Diane. So I didn't know what I was when I came here. I grew up Catholic, but I had been lapsed everything, looking, searching. And when I came here, I found a true home. And I would now describe myself as polytheist. I am not anti any particular religious creed. I think they all offer things for us to learn from. And I love this place that allows me the freedom to learn about Buddhism and, atheism, humanism. I learn every time. I learn and learn and learn. So that's why I love it here.
When the folk singer Woody Guthrie was taken to the hospital in the early 50s, he had to fill out an intake form and wanted to ask for his religion, and he wrote all of them. Anybody else?
That's great.
Back to you, sister.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Hi. Thank you, sister. I have to believe, I'm also a lapsed Catholic.
Can't hear you.
A lapsed Catholic right here in the house. I believe that coming here has simplified what faith community means to me. It's really the basic teachings of Jesus Christ. Really the very simple rules of be kind to your neighbor, do unto others. It's keeping it simple and honest. That's it.
great, great. Thank you all. And that's what I resonate with as well. and that's what my religious congregation is all about, caring for people, caring for the dear neighbor, caring for the planet. Our teachings of Catholic social teaching actually has 7 principles, which align perfectly with what I see as your 7 principles. It first began back in the 1890s when Pope Leo XIII wrote an encyclical of new things, it was called in English. And the new things was industrialization and everything that came with it. And what came with it was a lot of good, but also a lot of bad, especially the treatment of workers, the injustices, the long hours, the lack of safety, and the lack of the ability to organize for their own best interests. And so Pope Leo spoke about that, and Catholic popes have continued to speak about that right up to the present day. But our principles are lined up with yours. The main one, number 1, respecting the dignity of every person. And that's what gives me energy to be involved in how we can respect one another. And that's really what Eastern Service Workers Association is all about too. Let's see, I'm going to lose my train of thought if I don't pay attention to my notes. Okay. Oh, I've done many kinds of work, of service over my years. And now I find, who introduced me to those decades of service? You're right, more than I feel like I have. But I now find myself at ESWA because this is where I can connect with the dear neighbor of the here and now. It's all about connecting, building relationships. Do you know the basic definition of justice? The most simple definition and right on target is justice is about living in right relationship. It's not about laws, because laws come out of living properly, right? I know you have a moral code, and I believe that's what we need to help one another in this world. ESWA is about forming relationships, community organizing, strength in numbers, common interest groups. And John will talk more about this. For me and for you, I think, it's about relating to our neighbors, knowing their lives and their needs, and hopefully their names, because then they're real people to us, right? And partnering with God, with our God-given gifts and theirs, to address the injustices and restore unity in our world. So John will give you a lot of the details, and then I'll be back.
Even if her sister not here, give her a little round. I mean. So the driving force in labor historically has been workers uniting to end their suffering. Why? Well, because they're the ones who are enduring the suffering, and they find it takes organization to address it. One example, our medical benefit. Members built a medical benefit because they needed medical attention, and they couldn't get it. One example, a self-employed construction worker came to our office just last week with an infection he had no way to treat. He works 6, often 7 days a week. Why is the care needed? i.e., why couldn't he just pay for the care himself? In his individual case, I know the guy pretty well, I can say his income goes to rent, to food, to utilities, to transportation. Medical expense would have taken away from those other expenses that he has. But More broadly, let's look at an example from a few years ago, when a group of insured workers were deprived of their insurance by Carl Icahn in his drive to cut costs. And today, many casinos are still hiring independent contractors to do their work because they can do so often without providing any medical insurance. Another example, look at our utility benefit. Members built a utility benefit because we got to keep our utilities on. Since April, we've had 5 members come to our office who were scheduled to be or were going to be shut off from electric or from water, i.e. during this heat wave, like last week. One case, I'm laughing, but it's really horrible. A cancer victim, a retired secretary, had NJ American Water threatening to cut her off in the middle of this heat wave. In 2 other cases, other members' blood sugar was going dangerously up because their insulin was going bad, because the electric company had turned them off and the fridge doesn't work. Meanwhile, Exxon made like $2 billion last year, and AC Electric increased the prices by about $40 million last year. A third case, a case I worked on, one member, retired home health aide, sent down from Burlington County, placed into a motel on the Black Horse Pike. The motel was going to evict her on a freezing cold day, an MLK day as a matter of fact. We were open, because we're open 7 days a week, 365 days a year, until poverty isn't. But the county offices were not, and we couldn't reach anyone there. She was very isolated because they had placed her like 2 counties south of where she lives originally. She's from Trenton. Regardless, we succeeded finally in reaching officials after like dozens of hours of determined calls. We succeeded in extending her motel stay. A member ended up stepping up afterwards as well, leading canvases in Atlantic City and attending classes, learning about how to organize, building up the organization as a whole. But these are all examples about real problems that working people are facing all across this region, and it's leading to impoverishment. So let's talk about real solutions that we're building to address that impoverishment. Ultimately, we're bringing together those housekeepers who are being run ragged to meet the quotas while working with these harmful chemicals, or we're uniting these independent contractors who are trying to get paid, trying to make ends meet. We are a workers' association, right? So let me see some hands. I want your input. How many folks here are currently working? Or there you go. What kind of work do you guys do? Teresa, what kind of work do you do? Chiropractor? Okay, cool. I should have known that. I saw some other hands. What kind of work do you do over there? I'm nurse. Nurse? Okay. Got some medical people. It's a tough field, especially during the pandemic. I saw some other hands back here. What kind of work do other people do?
Security supervisor at the casino.
There you go. Cool. Yeah, it's a busy season now. We're in the heat of it, so.
And the work, the work is hard. The people that I work with put up with a lot of my team that I work with put up with a lot. We work hard, for what we do, and we're very fortunate at Caesars for the health insurance program that we have. I mean, it does cost us, depending on what level you're at, how much care you choose to pay for. But we are some of the fortunate people who do have a really good health benefits. And also, on the other hand, we have a lot of people that work for Local 54 that are, they're unionized labor. And, their benefits comes through Local 54. And seeing sometimes what their wages are compared to other wages out there without their union, and trust me, I've never been a big union person, but my partner of 34 years is a union person, but I've grown to really, and help also, listening to Colby a lot about organizing unions. If it wasn't for their union, these hardworking people would not be able to afford their health insurance for their
Right.
families. And it shows what organizing does is to help them with that, plus their pensions.
Right. Absolutely. And just to tie into that, so a lot of the folks who are independent contractors, who are farm workers, who are domestic workers, aren't able to have that sort of benefit because you're not eligible for unionization. And so that's where we come in. That's we're an association of a new type of workers. But anyway, but I agree with you completely. That's absolutely it. Some people will be dead without the union. Absolutely. And so, yeah, so, we are all volunteer organization, top to bottom. We're 100% independent of the government as well. And we're uniting those lowest paid workers in conjunction with, people who need to have a union themselves as well. People who are working for the casinos. Doesn't matter what kind of background you have. If you're concerned about labor, if you're concerned about the future, we're organizing. How do we organize? So number one thing above all else is we build grassroots leadership through organization. We have members who bring their issues, bring the problems to our regular membership meetings. And to build up those membership meetings, to include more of those workers from different workforces, from casino work to construction to farm to home health aides, we run our Canvas campaign to protect workers from being fired or targeted. We canvass residentially, mostly reaching low-wage workers in Atlantic City and Pleasantville. Out there, we talk about wages, benefits, conditions, but most importantly, fundamentally how it takes an organization to change these kind of things. The same things that we were talking about in the earlier discussion, what Sister Dot was hitting on, knowing your good neighbor, but it takes organization. Because without a union, there would be no medical benefits, Right now, we're reaching a lot of casino workers in the Chelsea neighborhood of Atlantic City, in the South Side, and food service workers. When members have their own organization, they can bring their issues to the table. They can discuss actions they can take to deal with these sort of problems that we're up against. This is why we fought the electric rate hike from last year. A delegation of our members went, about 30 folks, to public hearing to prevent Atlantic City Electric from raising their rates, keeping that money in the community. Y'all have probably seen these papers over and over again, but for the sake of continuity, I can show you guys this later if you want it, but yeah, we were forced, we were the only people there. Our members also voted back in November to go out to support the union workers who were out on strike, the IBEW, because it was the same company that was exploiting the company simultaneously tried to raise the rates for the prices while depriving their workers of benefits and pension plans. And the main call that we got from those workers when we went out to the picket line was they said, well, gee, the media isn't really representing what we're doing very well. We don't hear about this stuff often enough. And so, hence, on our front page paper, which I saw at the UU hall in here. So you guys saw this thing. But anybody see those picket lines go up back in November? You saw them? Yeah, they were all over. So, I started organizing myself, mostly because of these same things we're talking about, things that you see, things that are affecting you, and you want to address them. I grew up in the Great Recession, it affected my family, When I was 18, I worked at a plate glass factory, and short little story because I'm running out of time. My paycheck said Atlantic Plate Glass, the company I worked for directly. But when the union came out, I was working under the table on the shop without any, training. When the union official came out, the management pulled me aside and they said, don't you talk to them. If they talk to you, you tell them you're an independent contractor. Yeah, true story. I was 18. It was intimidation. Absolutely, it was. But you learn from these things. You learn who's really on your side and who's not. And there's a lot of other examples. But the point is that we've got to organize. We have to keep organizing. And as long as there's a part of the workforce that's been left out, that's where we got to start. That's why I'm here, and happy to be here. And so one thing's worth mentioning, for low-income workers to be able to unite, there are certain things that will get in the way if they're not addressed. Lack of food, lack of clothing, medical emergencies, legal problems, all these kind of things get in the way of taking the time it requires to organize. Who can guess what our benefits program is? Colby, you're up. No. I'm not going to do that. Food, clothing, medical care, legal advice, all those things. We've successfully addressed all these issues I mentioned earlier, in one shape or another, getting their service restored, getting the infections treated, but, the number of cases that exist out there in the state requires an organization that can deal with these sort of problems more comprehensively. That requires organizing. So, really appreciate everything this entire institution has done to support everything that we've talked about. You guys are with it, 110%. I guess I am preaching to the choir here. You're the choir. I hope it was a little informational, but yeah, it's really helped us advance everything that we're working towards achieving, everything that we're talking about. So I'm going to list some ways that you can get involved, and yeah, so this is our summer survival campaign. As we go into the summer, it's the hottest on record, climate change, and there's a lot of ways you can make a difference. And consider, hands-on experience if you're able to do so. Number one is always, we need organizers, consider organizing this summer. Times are urgent, and you can, put some time into doing so, and you can accomplish a lot. Consider full-time. Join our Canvas campaigns in Atlantic City. It's the lifeblood of our organizing drive. As we walk the streets, we're trying to bring we're struggling to bring change about in. You can count on us, 10 to 3 every Saturday. We'll be out there, so who's gonna be out there with us? You could volunteer as a medical, dental, a legal, utility advocate. What does that mean? It means, making the phone calls to agencies, with members, doing the research to find assistance, taking notes from a professional, medical, legal professional, doctor, attorney. Yeah, we try to go to bat to stop these problems. You could write, you could design, you could research, you could do photography for producing our newspaper. Translators are needed daily, particularly Spanish and Creole. Everyone here is invited. I did not bring it with me, but on the table outside, beautiful invitations to our 47th anniversary. It is Saturday, July 27th from 2 to 5 p.m. We're going to have food, going to have entertainment, so we can treat y'all, because you guys are the best. Last but definitely not least, food drives are also needed. We're running our annual back-to-school drive right now as well. We're sorting and distributing the supplies. We're planning for August 27th. But yeah, that's what I got. Thank you.
Please rise in body and or spirit and sing hymn number 169. Quite appropriately, We Shall Overcome.
We shall overcome.
like to thank Sister.com and John and Evelyn for coming and sharing with us today, this morning. Thank you very much. And we'll all be thinking about your work and how we can help you out. Let's read the words together for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Wow, indeed. We warmly welcome all of you who are visiting us today. Now let us take a moment of silent reflection. Let's share this silent moment to consider today's message and the meaning it has in our lives.